Oh, are you guys not able? Are you able to hear me now? What the hell? Can't hear shit. I may have. I don't know. I may have been muted somehow. I think it might be fixed. Fuck. Can't hear anything either. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I've just been kind of going on for a little while there without anybody being able to hear me. That kind of sucks. Damn, those tech issues. You've been talking to yourself. You know what? That's kind of like it's kind of like every day. All right, well, welcome, guys. I don't know if that's going to be able to be heard on the recording. Um, it was just a couple of minutes. Basically, all I was saying was that I do already have a co-host. We used to stream a while back on this channel. Used to call it um, Scratchcast. Not very creative name, so we kind of broke off doing it, and then I decided that yeah, it is pretty funny, right? Fuck. Well, this thing is, my Yeti wasn't muted. It was it was OBS somehow, and I don't really know why, because I hadn't touched it, but I guess it is what it is. I'm not gonna make excuses. Greatest speech no one ever heard. If you don't mind repeating, go ahead. Only way to ensure an intelligent conversation. Yeah, I was basically just saying that I am going to try to make this a little bit more of a regular thing. Probably going to do maximum 2 to 3 nights a week, if that. I don't want to make any promises yet. I'm just saying this is kind of what I'm planning. And the reason being is, I think if I try to do every night of the week, it's going to lead to burnout pretty quick. You know, I don't want to get to a point where I am struggling to find content. I kind of want it to be organic, because I think that really fosters the type of environment that, you know, I thrive best in. I feel like when it gets to the point where I am digging hard for stuff to talk about, it feels too forced. I'm not, you know, my heart's not in it. It just doesn't work out for me. So that's not what I really want to do. I've always been that way on YouTube, and it's always led to me making very inconsistent content. Did you remember to switch YouTube chat from top to live chat? Yes, I did. That was the one thing I did remember to do. So yeah, I'm not interested in doing the daily stuff, unless, of course, you know, it comes to a point where I actually have stuff to do daily. You should set a regular, consistent schedule. Yeah, that's kind of what I have been trying to do. But like I said, you know, I want to make it where I know I'll have things that I can put out. So like I said, most likely it would be 2 to 3 nights a week, because I don't want to overdo it. Don't want to put on a show for people and then have them, you know, be like, oh, this is just doesn't come off as genuine, because I know that when I do something that I'm not really into, it doesn't come off as genuine. You know, I've recorded videos before and scrapped them when it didn't feel right, and I think that was the right call in the long run. E3, you know, I've never paid too much attention to those things, but I mean, if we could, I guess if we could get away with listening in on it, I don't know how that works with copyright. You know, maybe that's something that we could do. But I was saying that I do have a few things here to talk about this evening. I should probably get to that, because I don't want to cut into any other time slots, because I know most of you guys have come over here from when we were hosting Killstream. So let's take a look at a couple of things here tonight. Most of them are in the title. I have like 2 one-offs that are just going to be a little something to look at. Let me pull up the browser first. Okay. So this one here is just a screenshot that I took and put on Twitter, because I wasn't making fun of the guy, but I felt like this was a very, very kind of a sad example of how not to place an online ad. And let's just read through it, and you guys can let me know what you think. So, 46, male for female, turning 47 in a few days, Asperger's syndrome, just got my own apartment finally, seeking to break it in with a birthday makeout session in Camden County, New Jersey, near Philly. Now, right off the bat, I think jumping right for the physical relationship is probably not a good idea. But let's see what he has to say. I'm 5'9", 215 pounds, long blonde hair, glasses, beard, very inexperienced with women due to Asperger's syndrome, and lack of money, but a special needs program recently helped me get my own place in Camden County, New Jersey. Seeking, oh boy, here we go, seeking slender woman with long hair and tattoos / piercings, and or glasses a plus. Also a sense of accepting me for myself and being open-minded and carefree and a sense of humor are pluses as well. Now, I understand, you know, in an ad you're gonna try to put out there what your ideal would be, but at the same time I also kind of feel like it's a little bit limiting. I know it probably feels like I'm maybe reading too much into this and dissecting, but you know, it seems like common sense to want somebody that accepts you for yourself. You know, that just seems like it go without saying. Seeking a deep, passionate makeout session at my place, and if things go well, then further mutual fun and general sexual experimentation. Not seeking a relationship or actual regular sex, more so looking for erotic fun and games, but primarily my biggest love is passional? I think he meant passionate makeout sessions. I've not had one this whole century yet. I believe he probably means near half century, considering he's approaching 50 years old. On a side note, my place is pretty cool to check out with how I decorated it. I question how he decorated it. So, what I had said on Twitter about this was that, you know, it's good that he had the self-awareness to understand why he probably didn't have much experience in life with the opposite sex, but at the same time, you'd think if he had that much self-awareness, he would be aware enough not to post something like this, because I'm not seeing the part where a person is supposed to find this appealing. He didn't really say too much positive, you know, good qualities about himself, and then kind of just jump to, oh, well, I got an apartment, and this is vaguely what I look like, and this is what I want. There's nothing really here that would jump out at somebody where they could be like, oh, okay, I kind of find this interesting, but I'm not seeing it. Honesty is not always best. All right, let me go here. Just gonna go up a little bit. How much hentai games will you buy now that Steam is open show now? Just kidding. I'm looking forward to a possible Superman game, Tenchu, and Bethesda's Starfield. Is Tenchu really going to come back? Jesus, what? Wow, sounds straightforward. I want to die. It's a trap. Short, I want to die. Nothing like making out with a spurg to christen a house. I almost said Christian. It's like, yeah, that's definitely a Christian house. 47 uses the term makeout session. This is not good. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do feel bad for him in a sense, because it's like he doesn't really understand. Zer says he's able to come by for a bit. Oh, really? Awesome. I'm gonna see if I can pull him on. Slide me a link. I can come on for a bit. I have to tell him I'm not using Hangouts. Sorry about the typing there, but this should be good. May have to make a Skype call if he doesn't have Discord. But yeah, it'll be fun. We've had Zerse on before. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a friend of the show, and he always has some pretty good, insightful things to say. I'm a broke dude with Asperger's. Here are all the conditions for you to be allowed to be with me. Right. It's like when women, you know, to be very general, it's like when women will post things that are basically just like, oh, if you don't you know, if you won't take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, but they post nothing to indicate what their best is, and then they just write a list of demands from what they want for the guy, and it's basically perfection. It's like they don't realize that it's give and take. Stefan Molyneux would tell the poster off stream to commit suicide. Alright, I'll see what he says, though. I kind of don't want to move on to the next topic yet, because I sort of want to get his take on this one and see what he has to say for it. Peacefully sunset yourself. I like that saying. That's a good one. That is a good one. I'm on Discord right now, actually. All right, let me see if I can find him. I don't know what his name is. Apologies. I should have checked if he had Discord before I started this up. I actually thought of him last minute, though, because it's just been a long time since I've talked to him. That Christian video Dankula did was really sweet, though. Are you talking about the interview? Because I saw the interview. Well, I didn't see the whole thing. I saw bits and pieces of it. And it was definitely interesting, the bits that I saw. I kind of feel bad for the guy. He just seems like he's unstable. I guess that's misgendering at this point, but he's definitely not passing. Oof, that's rough. I don't envy being in that situation. Dankula's a sweet guy, wouldn't have the patience. You know, he did seem like he was very patient with him. I was wondering how in some of those instances, how he kept a straight face. And, you know, it's one of those situations where the person that you're speaking to just seems so far gone that you'd feel like it was an extremely low blow trying to, you know, mock what they're doing, even though it's extremely cringeworthy. I really think that that's just somebody that really needs help, and, you know, the internet is probably not the best place for them to hang out, because it's very easy to... I just think the internet makes it a very easy place to double down into your issues rather than solving them. Oh, okay. I got his name here, so I'm gonna add him if I can. I'm not very Discord savvy yet, so you'll have to bear with me, people. I don't use it very often at all. How do I find somebody? Okay, here we go. Now I figured it out. I'm like, what do they call it? Boomer technology or whatever? How does this work? Or why doesn't it seem to be working? Oh, crap. I'm entering his name, but it's not going in. Oh. Well. Yeah, okay. It's definitely me being the old guy on the internet, even though that's... Enter to select. Why isn't it working? Let's look in on chat here. The internet was a mistake. Me neither. I don't think the Ralph Retort will ever have me on again. Yeah, they'll have you on. They're not. The only way they wouldn't have you on is if you fuck with them too much. Like you're just not being, genuine. Well, that's not entirely true. You can troll them, but you have to be crafty about it. You have to be good. You have to be funny. Otherwise, it's just, it's just obnoxious, and that I can understand. Let me look at how the... I found it. I found it. I found it. Hey, Mugwort, how's it going? He needs a keeper. Yeah, I think that's somebody that needs guidance. Does he live with his parents or something? I mean, does he have somebody like that? I don't really know the whole story about Chris Chan. I'm not really up on all the so-called lore. Oh, alright. Now I can invite him into the server. And then I can, I believe... Oh, how do I put him in the room? Oh, okay. Okay. I don't know if that's the way to do it. I think he has to join the call-in room, and then I can pull him in manually. All right. I think she has dementia. Isn't pretty young for that, though, right? Oh, his mother has dementia. Okay, I get it. I see. I get confused with the pronouns. Some people call him. Some people call him her. I don't know what I'm doing. Gonna have to stream in at least 720p if you want us to read this stuff. Is it not showing up in 720? Huh. All right, let me see if I can upgrade the output. Maybe it's a YouTube thing, because I'm pretty sure that I have it set to be able to stream at that capacity. Is it because I locked it? I don't understand. Apparently, I'm the one with the dementia here because I can't pull him in. Zidane wins route. Hey, Zidane, how's it going? Welcome. Hey, now that you're here, do you know how I can pull somebody into a locked Discord room there? Because I can't just seem to drag him in, and I thought that's what you guys usually do. Believe you have to right-click, scroll, move to. Oh, move to. I see. I see. Okay, I believe he's in.
Does it work?
Hey.
Can I be heard?
You can be heard.
Okay.
Let me turn up your volume a little bit.
I can change the microphone. I think it'll be better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that might work.
Okay.
I'll give you a minute to do that. Try another browser. Raising resolutions means the stream will lag more. Yeah, that's true. I thought, though, I do see the 480 as the max, too, but I thought it was different. I thought I had it maxed out to whatever people wanted to do.
Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Okay, hold on. Is this better?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I couldn't before because I had to plug in the headphones into the microphone.
Gotcha. How's it going? It's been a while.
I know, man, hasn't it? I've been doing well. I've been doing all right.
Good to hear.
Living life, breathing air.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
That's what more can you do, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to, just real quick before I move on to the next thing here, I just wanted you to take a look at this post that we were looking at here on the stream and get your take on it. I linked it to you in there.
46, turning 47 in a few days, Asperger's syndromes. Just got my own apartment finally, seeking to break it in with a birthday makeout session in Camden County, New York. That's interesting. I'm 5'9". You want me to read it? Do I have to read it?
Oh, you can. I mean, I read it out loud, but if you just want to read it to yourself, that's fine. Your choice.
Okay. I'm 5'9", 215 pounds, long blonde hair, glasses, beard. Very inexperienced with women due to Asperger's syndrome and a lack of money, but a special needs program recently helped me get my own place in Camden. Seeking slender woman with long hair, tattoos, piercings, and no glasses, a plus. So he wants like some kind of scene chick or something?
Yeah, I guess that's what it sounds like.
Okay. Also, a sense of accepting me for myself and being open-minded and carefree, and a sense of humor are pluses as well. Well, buddy, you've already just removed probably about 94% of the population there. You just go ahead and table that whole accepting me for myself thing.
Yeah.
Seeking a deep, passionate makeout session at my place, and if things go well, then further mutual fun and general sexual experimentation. Not seeking a relationship or actual regular sex. More so looking for erotic fun and games like Monopoly. No,
Yes, erotic Monopoly, strip Monopoly.
or strip talk. He's gonna bust out the cards. But primarily, my biggest love is passionate makeout sessions, and I have not had one this whole century yet. On a side note, my place is pretty cool to check out with how I decorated it. So that's interesting.
Yeah, so I was saying that I feel like he focused way too much on what it is that he wants and left very little about himself there. I mean, really, he just defined himself by having Asperger's syndrome and gave like a vague description of his appearance.
I mean, his first mistake was posting this on Reddit like he was going to get a response.
Yeah. That's I was, when I posted this on Twitter, I was like, I feel bad for the guy because you'd think if he had the self-awareness to understand that he was inexperienced due to his condition, that he'd also have the self-awareness to realize it's a bad idea to post this.
Yeah, on Reddit of all places. Reddit is not a place anywhere on the internet really for young men seeking women. It's just not going to work out very successfully, and I guess he just doesn't know that. He is an older guy.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's something that you post publicly rather than an app or something where you have private conversations.
Because like he would have, it would have been better. He probably would have gotten maybe slightly better results, but it would have been better if he at least had done this on like Craigslist, where like people, they're going there because they're a bit desperate, or they're going there because they know what they're expecting.
Did you? I agree with you on that.
I heard about Craigslist.
Yeah, they removed the personals and stuff.
Yeah, I was just saying, for sake of argument.
Yeah, I get you.
But to do this as if he in earnest to do this in earnest, I think shows just a profound lack of understanding of what you're trying to do on the internet. You're just not going to get what you want. Um, Most ladies do not like random ads or fish for ads on Reddit,
No,
even with
they
the
don't
content
need to,
that
because
is out
usually
there.
they're the ones being approached.
Precisely. And more than anything, have you ever been to these sections on Reddit before?
Yeah, I occasionally take a look at them just to get, sometimes I use it for ideas for streams to talk about different posts that people are, just things that are related to relationships that people are posting online. Because once in a while, I think you joined me for one a while back. I like to do those relationship post streams.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do remember that actually. And I think we realized, which again was probably not confusing or strange to anyone, that the vast majority of people posting there are men. The vast majority of people looking there are men. And you might see like one post from a young lady, but you already know her inbox is just gonna be it's roughed.
Oh
Her
yeah,
inbox
I'm sure it
her
gets
inbox
destroyed
her
instantly.
inbox had all of the sex that she wasn't having, pretty much. That's that's pretty much what's gonna happen there.
It's like throwing a truckload of ballparks down a hallway.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
And
go ahead.
go ahead.
You first. It's fine.
I was gonna say I'm glad he's at least trying. I just don't think this was the best approach or the most conducive to his efforts.
Yeah, I mean, A for effort, but I hope that the responses that he's inevitably going to get, if he gets any, won't be a complete deterrent from trying to, branch out.
I don't think he'll get any response at all. I don't think anyone on Reddit, especially on R for R, is really gonna is in the trolling mood. Like most people on Reddit, from my experience, they love to get into arguments, but they're not. You don't really meet very many trolls, at least in my experience on Reddit.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
From what I've seen, yeah.
most, yeah, like most people will argue with you until the end of time itself. People will argue with you on Reddit, but I don't normally see much trolling there.
Just a lot of
They,
downvoting and lack
yeah.
of substantive arguments, I guess. I'm okay. So I'm gonna move on to the next topic. I haven't completely read this, but I did see the basic idea of it, and of course, given that this is Pride Month of all months, it's quite the fitting topic because we have,
When did Pride Month become a thing?
you
I
know,
have
I,
to ask.
I don't remember exactly, but it's apparently all people are talking about recently,
Interesting.
and you can't disagree with it, or else you are a hateful bigot, as
Yeah,
per the narrative. But
yeah.
this is kind of funny, and not because I believe that people should be demonetized for their content, as long as it's not anything that's like outright breaking the law. But usually it's these type of activists and these type of people that make this sort of content that are the ones that want stricter rules, and then when they get them, well, it backfires, as you can see, as YouTube's ad problem continues. LGBT videos demonetized, anti-LGBT ads running.
I mean, what did they expect?
Yeah, it's like if you want a company to buckle down on the rules, those rules are inevitably going to affect you as well, and it may not be in the way that you wanted it to.
But here's what I don't like. I skipped a bunch. I went down to the tweet Chase Ross made that I think is nonsensical, or at the very least is clearly trans baiting. It's not race baiting. It's trans baiting.
Transbaiting.
He says, "Tell me again how trans people aren't targeted by YouTube. Both videos were restricted, so I deleted them, changed the file and title name." But here's the thing, in my experience, man, I've made videos where I'm probably just talking about some kind of video game, or I was talking about actually just talking about incels will certainly get your video demonetized. I mean, are incels being targeted by YouTube?
Oh,
Mm,
I had a stream with the word incel in it, and it got demonetized as well.
that's what I'm saying.
So I think they, YouTube just has these target words, and when they're hit, they're hit. And trans is probably under those targeted words because they thought they're going to hit the videos that are quote unquote anti-trans, without really taking into account that the fact that all of the people that make the so-called positive content under the same label are also going to be hit, because I don't know how they would really come up with something that would differentiate between like, oh, this is hate speech and this is a praising video.
Yeah, on the offset, it's stupid. If I may say so myself, being someone that makes videos on YouTube, it's dumb.
Yeah,
Not just because I get paid less, but also because, one, what you just said, there's no way to really tell whether someone is actually for or against something if you just, get rid of targeted keywords.
yeah, unless of course you've got somebody sitting there watching all these videos, which just isn't humanly possible.
Yeah. And then you have the second part. YouTube is you're just losing money, you ducks. You've lost money on something that could have been. I mean, I guess it's one thing if someone has keywords like rape, murder, incest, like those kind of keywords, I could understand why someone would need to come back and look at it and then analyze it and see, okay, is he talking about rape prevention? Is he talking about actually hurting men or women? Like, what is this? Like, that would be reasonable to me.
Right,
Like,
at least put it through like a
keywords.
review kind of process rather than
Yeah.
just instantly deciding it's bad.
Exactly.
Oh, I was hosting the kill stream, Ralph Retort's kill stream here, because they got a strike on their channel. So I was letting them stream here. And I guess it brought in an influx of subs, and I guess some of them are looking for a reason to stay. I mean, I would say just, stick around and watch the show, and if you like it, hang around, but if you don't, you're free to go.
Can't keep you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't force you. Yeah, apologies for that.
What was the stream about? What happened?
Oh, the kill stream?
Yeah.
It's about different stuff every evening. They had like Medicare on one night and stuff. Dick Masterson. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah. What about him?
They had him on stream as a guest as well, talking about the lawsuit situation with Maddox and whatnot as well. So they just get different guests on and talk with them.
Interesting. Oh, that's cool. That's neato.
Yep.
What else were we? We were
mid talking about the situation with the demonetization for the trans and LGBT videos, and I agree with you that they shouldn't be demonetized. It's just that these guys just don't think these things through when they support these rules, like, oh, we need to get rid of bullying, we need to get rid of hate speech and stuff like that, because it's so loosely defined, and the things that they implement to target them also end up affecting the very people they're meant to protect. As I cringe saying protect, as if someone needs to be protected from videos.
Be protected from the mean opinions of people on the internet. But
Yeah.
Like I said, I think YouTube's hurting itself. I think they're missing out on a lot of money they could have had because of these stupid demonetization bots. I think we're all the worst off for it. I don't think anyone has benefited from this.
Yeah, I mean, how many advertisers really care that much at what type of video they're running an ad on, short of when they were having those problems where, like, oh, ISIS beheadings are being monetized or whatever.
Like that would be totally reasonable, if like Maybelline had an ad run before one of the young lady was beheaded, for not wearing her hijab. I can understand why Maybelline would be like, hey, YouTube, could you chill out with that? We're trying to sell makeup.
Yeah,
I could get that. But, someone's like, hey, you think you're trans? Here are the telltale signs, or whatever trans videos. I don't know. I've never seen a trans video before. And
I don't know if you've heard of this then. There is an interesting trend of YouTube videos about transgender, and it's usually called "He Didn't Know I Was Trans." Just search that up on YouTube sometime, and there is a plethora of options available to you. And it's always these stories of how they met this guy, the guy didn't know, maybe they danced together, maybe they kissed or something like that. And it's like, okay, you guys complain constantly that you are literally dying, is usually the terminology they use, because of, men not liking that you're transgender and whatnot. But here you are
Brother, that is
hiding your identity.
that's Jerry Springer, bruh.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's literally episodes of Jerry Springer.
Well, if you look at the people that usually make those types of videos, they're very plastic looking. So they look like they're reality TV show material.
No offense, but that's pretty much the normal look for a lot of trans people.
Well,
They
yeah,
have to
because
wear a lot of
if they go
makeup
through the surgery and stuff, yeah.
and surgery too. I was more referring to makeup, but you are right about the surgery.
I guess overcompensating with a lot of makeup is one way to go about it.
That's trippy. How? But here's my question though. In their defense, in their defense, how did the guy in question not know that they were trans? That's
That
what I'm
is a
trying to figure
very
out.
good question. I'm not sure because I feel like I have a pretty decent idea when I see somebody. I'm like, okay, something there is a little off. It's like it's kind of like a
Yeah.
woman, but there's a little something that just doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, like most of the time you can hear it in their, well, I can. I like listening to women talk, so like you can hear there's a huge different cadence in like a natural feminine voice versus an artificial one. Sad to say. Hopefully, I think I've offended some people when I say a natural feminine cadence, but there
Yeah.
is like there's a it's harder to describe, but if you hear a woman talk, like it's a woman. But when someone is pretending to be a woman, there's a very scratchy kind of breaking. Like if you listen to Blair White, you'll notice as high as what pronoun should I use here? Should I be respectful or should I not care? As high as his or her voice goes, there's always a cap. There's always a point where it just kind of like creaks out and it just sounds really fake and Valley Girl. It's like it sounds like a performance.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
the accent. Well, I guess it's sort of an accent or manner of
Yeah.
speaking is just very very forced. It's very Barbie like, I guess. Adam Costanza there in the chat makes a good point. Catfishing drunk guys at the club. Yeah, I actually did watch a few of those videos just out of, curiosity of what was going down there, and a lot of them did take place like, oh, I was out at the bar, I was out at the club, so maybe they're
Ugh,
just a little intoxicated and
that's not okay.
dark room lighting.
Ugh, I
No,
wouldn't
it's
do
it's
that.
really not, and I mean like, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, I'm not necessarily saying you should be killed for doing that, but at the same time, you are taking a very big risk because you don't know how somebody's going to react out of anger when they find out.
Yeah, like at no point, and in my opinion, there's no point of ever trying to harm the individual because they faked you out. You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I mean, but to be upset about that is totally reasonable. Like, I don't think you should ever, like, you don't need to hit anyone or punch them because he's like, yeah, sorry, I have a penis. Like, you can be disgusted for the fact that they lied to you and the fact that, they tried you as a homosexual, at least in your opinion, they did.
Right.
Totally understand that. But as far as hitting them and attacking them goes, I don't think that that's a reasonable response.
No, I think that usually comes when it goes beyond just the social interaction trickery and goes into the physical.
Oh, like when they get like blowjobs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that happened a lot on Jerry Springer. On Jerry Springer, a lot of the time that was the case. But again, I have to ask, like a lot of the times, even like I used to watch Jerry Springer when I was a young man. I probably shouldn't have, but I did when I was younger. And again, even then, I could see it. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between like a natural woman and the artificial performance, you can call it, of some trans people. And that might be offensive, but I mean, you just gonna have to be mad, man. Like
Yeah,
there is.
there was a company, I forgot what they are, what they do, but they recently had to come out with an apology because they said something about natural women, and of course the trans people were offended.
But it's like even this though. One, that's dumb, but two, even with a tomboy, you know what I mean? Like even with a girl who's tomboyish and still has those interests and doesn't really dress, like the way a lot of women dress now, she still has a natural, feminine air about her. She might be in the anime and all these different, Chinese cartoons and whatnot, but
Chinese cartoons.
comic books and everything, video games, she might be in it all that, but again, she's still very feminine, as tomboyish as a young lady might be. So no matter what, there is a clear femininity that you can sense as a man that I just do not understand how you're getting bamboozled, I guess you could say, by these
Yeah,
trans
yeah.
ladies.
Well, I think, at least socially, what they're trying to do is kind of break down the idea of what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, which is interesting because the idea of trans people is basically predicated upon the idea of gender roles being valid.
I know, ironically, you'll notice a lot of the times whenever someone becomes trans, they'll go to the most extreme understanding of what it means to be a man or a woman,
Right.
which,
It's
as you
it's
said,
like
is
a
very ironic.
yeah, it's like a performative version of what they would expect the I hesitate to say ideal, but for lack of a better word, ideal woman to be.
Yeah, again, Blair White being a very good example. And I'm sorry if you really like Blair White, guys. It's just she's a good example. That is, if anyone in this chat, is a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I actually had Blair White block me on Twitter.
Really?
And I wasn't even talking to her. I was talking to somebody in her replies that was basically just doing the whole white knighting thing. And I think I made some kind of joke like stop sucking Blair's dick for a second or something like that. And I guess she was in the at and didn't like that. Which is funny
You
because
heard
a few years ago I made a joke. There's this, it's like a 4-panel comic. You may have seen it, where it's like two people in a bed. It's like a man and a woman. They're just very cartoony looking. And of course, you see the man gets an erection, and then in another panel, the woman gets an erection too. And I just said like what it's like to spend a night in Blair White's bedroom, and I tagged her, and she actually retweeted that and had like a sense of humor about it. And then now here we are a few years later, and appears to have become very sensitive to the fact that that's a thing.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of it. Yeah, man. But like I said, if you're a fan of Blair White, I mean, the shoe fits. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
I mean, you
I
can. The
apologize.
thing is, I feel like when it comes to criticizing the larger channels that have a lot of fans, people tend to get very, very defensive quickly, rather than listening to the criticisms and seeing if maybe there is a point being made there. That's shifted a little bit when it comes to the so-called skeptic community lately. It seems like more and more people are kind of recognizing that, maybe they're not as genuine as people originally believed.
It's about time.
I know.
Took us a long time to get here,
Yeah, I was saying
but
like
I'm
go
glad
go
we are.
back and go back and look at, the first video I ever made criticizing Shoe on Head, and then go to the latest one that I had done a little while ago, and you'll see two very different reactions.
I know it's actually very interesting. I'm like I said, I'm glad it's happening. I'm glad the spell has been broken, and now people can see that skeptics are human and thus equally as fallible as the social justice warriors we have criticized for a long time. But for a long time, man, you could not insult the sacred calf.
Yeah,
You
and
actually, in some circles, you still can.
no, that's true. What I've noticed is that, I mean, you'll notice that the more, not to place labels, but I guess this is what they kind of identify themselves as, the more liberal skeptics tend to use the same type of argument tactics that the so-called SJWs do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and it's like it's a matter of it's okay when I do it. It seems like.
I mean, the thing is, they're still liberals. You know, suffice to say. Yeah, there's the thing that I always found was hilarious, which actually I now realize is a deviation from what we were originally talking about, but I'll still say it
Sure.
anyway. The thing that I've always noticed about a lot of these different skeptics was no matter how skeptical they claim to be, and no matter how much they criticize social justice warriors, they're still liberals, which means all they're really doing is splitting hairs with a lot of the SJWs. At the end of the day, they're still going to agree with them most of the time on pretty much anything. It's just, you know, they think that the SJWs are moving way too fast. That's what it seems like a lot of the times, that they just think that they're way too upfront about their opinions rather than what the opinions actually are.
Yeah, kind of
Again,
like moving the social change along slowly as opposed to going 0 to 60.
yeah. Like even like you look at like a June's opinions, man. Liberal today, tomorrow, next week. And what does she spend most of her time doing? Making fun of social justice warriors, as if her opinions were really all that different from theirs. It's not, unfortunately.
Yeah, recently it has been arguing with the what is that label? The TERFs. I don't know if you've heard that one.
Yeah, trans exclusionary feminists.
Yeah.
You know, they're more consistent in their disdain of the men. They're more consistent in how they feel about the world. I appreciate their existence. I think it's kind of stupid at the fact that you would separate a whole branch of feminism for they don't include trans people, but I guess
Well,
I don't know.
isn't it kind of
Go ahead.
insane that from a a perspective of reality, they may act a little bit crazy, but they do have the factual reality of things on their side.
See, I was actually going to say that. I was going to say something akin to that, but you hit the nail on the head. As radical as they may be called, or they might actually be. I take most of it on a case by case basis. So, as radical as one might be, they still have a point.
Yeah, I mean
They're
it's
still
really
looking
it's
at the
interesting
world.
because you'll see that, remember it used to be when the whole skeptic thing first started, it was buzz phrases like reals over feels and whatnot. But now you
Hmm.
see them defending the feelings of trans people on the basis of they feel the way that they feel like they're a man or they feel like they're a woman, so therefore they are, and that's really what they have on their side.
That's all they've ever had on their side. For better or for worse, that has always been what it means to be trans. Like I feel this way. So
Yeah, and I don't necessarily know how you can validate that if your argument is you have to have something better than just feelings to rely upon.
yeah, you can. You're deadlocked. But yeah, we can go back to YouTube instead of just talking about trans people.
Do you have anything else to say on it?
I'm just gonna reiterate my first point. I think YouTube is losing money, and they should really reevaluate their bot and really reevaluate what they want from the website, because I don't think that this is benefiting anyone. So that's my final thought.
Okay, the one last thing I want to say about it is they were talking about some anti-LGBT ad running, and I thought it was funny because they said the ad was created by the Alliance Defending Freedom, an organization classified as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. I mean, the Southern Poverty Law Center has their mother-in-laws labeled as a hate group, so can we really trust them on what constitutes a hate group?
I don't.
No, no, it's basically just
Yeah,
like, I don't like this, therefore hate group.
yeah. I never have. Maybe that's ignorant of me. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I don't consider any of their opinions on what is and is not a hate group. I don't.
Yeah, I
It
feel
means
like
nothing to me.
the overuse of the terms has ruined any potential truth of the label.
See, and
Whenever
that
I hear hate
is
group, I'm more inclined to believe, oh, they must have made a point somebody didn't like. not they're actually hateful.
Yeah, and that's I think a lot of times whenever a lot of these people dilute the words that they're using, they don't take into consideration that it can work in the opposite effect. That eventually people are just going to get sick and tired of hearing it rather than taking it seriously anymore.
Are you trying to transition to another topic? Yeah, I think we're going to move on. We're going to move on to, and since I'm running a little bit late thanks to the stupid internet cutting out, I think I'm going to move on to the one that I think is more important, because I do want to, I don't want to keep going for too much longer. I should have planned a little bit better tonight, but we'll have you on again and we'll do this again.
All right.
But this one is pretty funny. It's basically an advice column, and it's in regards to Jordan Peterson.
Oh, this again?
Yep. It's somebody wrote a letter in.
Hold on. Just hold on. Hold on. I think my friend is a Jordan Peterson fan. What should I do?
Oh,
what should you do? I don't know, go to Chick-fil-A, order him a milkshake, and do what you normally do, nigga. Like, what do you mean?
Well, you can't go to Chick-fil-A. They're anti-LGBT.
All right, I guess we have to settle for Burger King.
There you go. Or Burger Queen, if you're being inclusive. Get yourself one of those crowns.
You mean Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen, that's his wife. Oh, wait, that's heteronormative.
Yeah. Oh, we're just losing all around. Well, maybe Dairy Queen is trans, and therefore Burger King, being a straight man dating her, is sort of progressive.
Maybe she might be in the closet, man. We don't know.
There we go. Okay, so let's look over this little letter here. Dear Liza, I fell into an instant and deep connection with a man while on a work trip. I'm happily married, so there's no chance of a romantic future, friend-zoned, but the friendship has been and is enlivening. We share many interests, but mostly we have an easy understanding, something slow and patient and unusual in this world. We occasionally talk on the phone about life, and we're looking forward to having lunch when our paths cross again next month. However, in the gaps between conversations, I've come to realize that he might be a fan of Jordan Peterson. He hasn't mentioned his name, but there have been significant clues. More alarmingly, he has betrayed
basically, his life is getting better.
Yeah. He has betrayed a thin-skinnedness around... Betrayed? Is that really the proper use of that? Around sensitive topics like #MeToo and transgender issues.
Yeah, I think the correct word would be portray.
Portray, yeah. He said nothing that's outright offensive, maybe because I've made my politics clear. But if I ask directly and he responds affirmatively, what is he a fan? That he is a fan of Peterson, what should I do? Not a fan of social Darwinism. This is great. This is great. How do you just randomly assume from opinions that haven't even been directly expressed that somebody's just a fan of a guy he may not have even heard of?
That's true. That's point number one. You can't even assume that his opinions are his own and that they're genuine.
Did you just
he doesn't
assume
even
my
get that
fandom?
respect. Yes, you didn't even give him the respect that's how he honestly feels about the topic, and maybe he resonates with Jordan Peterson. We don't know. She doesn't know.
I'm interested what exactly the thin-skinnedness means, because I mean #MeToo and transgender issues are basically predicated upon thin-skinnedness. I mean, if you look at some of the complaints that those two movements have, they're looking pretty easily offended.
Yeah, like Me Too is, in my experience, more case by case, but transgender today, tomorrow, next week is all about being sensitive and thin-skinned.
Yeah, Me Too is definitely case by case, but
yeah,
the way that people latch on
for transgender.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna answer her question.
Sure.
What should I do if this guy is a fan of Jordan Peterson? You shake his hand, and you say, all right, what do you agree with and what do you disagree with him on? You have a conversation with him. If this guy, he like she's talking about, we talk on the phone, our friendship is enlivening, and whatever flowery language she used. If you really appreciate this person that much as a friend, then just talk to them. Have a conversation.
I mean, wouldn't that indicate that you have the capability, regardless of ideological differences, to be close friends with someone?
Yeah.
It's like, how is this a problem?
Like if I like a couple of years ago, if I would never write well, I never write into a column, but let's say I was the type of person to write into a column. And someone is like, and I meet someone, and I'm like, I think they might be a fan of Lacey Green. What should I do? Like, I would hope the answer would be, I don't know, like, go hang out with them and do what you normally do. Like, the topics never even have to come up, honestly.
Yeah, if it's something you want to talk about, discuss it. But if not, whatever. You don't have to. There's no obligation.
Yeah, like she acts like this is. It's one thing if she's like, I think my friend might be racist, and like if she said something like that, I'd be like, okay, maybe we might have to do something about that. You know, I think my friend might be a neo-Nazi. Probably not, but I mean, maybe you can talk to him about him being a neo-Nazi. Like, maybe you can have a conversation with him. But it's Jordan Peterson of all people.
I
Like that's
know.
the
I'm
thing.
always amazed. I'm always amazed at how people treat him like this demonic figurehead.
Yeah, like he is the worst of the worst. The guy, he sounds like Kermit. His opinions are as enlightening as you would expect from someone that sounds like Kermit the Frog. Uh, he's all about trying to be a better person and trying to make your life better. Now, if you disagree with Jordan Peterson on how to go about that, totally reasonable. I mean, or it might be reasonable. I don't know. It's
you,
fine.
you
What's
know what
reasonable
I
is it's fine to disagree.
you know what I
Um,
think? I don't think
yeah,
that they disagree with his ways of going about it. I think they disagree with becoming a better person. I think
maybe.
these are the people that live and thrive on being a victim of something, and if they learn that they can change and they can become something more, that just destroys their entire worldview.
Yeah, I think that's the deeper message. I think if we want to analyze them mentally, I don't disagree with you. I think that's probably exactly why they hate Jordan Peterson. It's the fact that he challenges them to be better people, and they don't want to accept that reality. They
Yeah,
can't accept that reality
and
because
I,
then
I
they won't
I
be able to
think
have this
what
past.
happens when somebody does that is that they look to you as though you are automatically saying you're better than them. But I don't think that's the case, especially with someone like him who seems to have acknowledged his own personal failings throughout life.
Yeah, like Peterson is probably one of the more humble people you'll ever see on the internet. He almost to a point where you would think he has no self confidence in much of what he says.
So let's take a look just at this reply. I think it's pretty funny, and I think it's funny who they reference as a good counter to him. But we'll get
Really?
there.
Okay.
Dear not a
Don't
fan.
spoil it.
Yeah, I won't. No spoilers. Both of you are lucky. Not enough people make time for real conversations and friendship in adulthood. As well, too many people isolate themselves from anyone whose values or politics are at odds with their own, and when we do that, we get intellectually soft. Worse, we lose the empathy with our opponents that can be so crucial to persuasion. Now, right there, that actually sounds pretty reasonable,
I know,
but
right?
we're
But
getting to
something's gonna
the
happen.
we're
That's
getting to the inevitable but.
that's unfortunate because at first I'm like, you know what, this is pretty solid.
Yeah,
But then I remembered, like we're on this show. It has to be something.
that said, not a fan. I'm delighted you plan to keep your clothes on, not only because you're happily married, but also because it would be advice columnist malpractice to condone sex with a Jordan Peterson fan.
Oh, but drug dealers are fine.
So,
Don't
so
worry about that.
basically, we just rolled back on that whole entire first
Yeah.
paragraph.
Yeah, it's like hold on, let me be clear. You know, if you want to go find some random guy, express your sexuality. It's totally fine, you know. But if he's a Jordan Peterson friend,
You've gone too far.
no, no, that now I'm gonna slut shame you. Now this is the one time it's okay to slut shame you when you're with that nasty Jordan Peterson fan.
Of course. For those readers who have been dwelling in happy ignorance,
Actually,
Jordan
hold on,
Peterson.
stop,
Go ahead.
hold on for a second, hold on, because I just wanted to point out the fact that she's literally praising this woman for doing something she's supposed to do. It's like, nigga, you
Keep your clothes on when
supposed
you're married.
to, yeah, you're supposed to only have sex with your husband. Yeah, that's just regular. That's just what you're supposed to do. Like,
What about poly relationships?
man, uh, that's like praising someone for paying for some shit at Walmart. It's like, oh, you paid. Thank you for giving us your. I'm supposed to. That's what a store is for.
That is
You
true.
can't praise me for doing what I'm supposed to do.
So,
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson is a Canadian psychologist, best selling author, and wildly popular YouTube star, promulgating backward and deeply unoriginal biological determinism with certainty, zeal, and a lot of Jungian mumbo jumbo. Confronting Peterson's repellent ideas, if you can do so without getting defensive or insulting, might actually help your friend think through some of these issues. There are a few things you can recommend that he check out if you want to gently counter the propaganda. This is amazing
Just,
because we
this
use the
is
word propaganda here, and I want you to remember that and then remember
okay.
whose name we drop pretty
Okay.
soon. One is any book by Cordelia Fine, a psychologist who has been ruthlessly dissecting the banal discourse over essential differences between the sexes for years. Another, here we go, is a wonderful video called Jordan Peterson ContraPoints by
I'm
the
done.
trans
Stop.
femme
I'm done.
YouTube star Natalie
I'm
Wynn,
done.
who does a
I'm
fabulous
done.
job of acknowledging the value of Peterson's self help advice. You wouldn't be reading this if no one needed advice, while exposing his far right political agenda. There it is.
ContraPoints of all people.
Yeah,
He's
that's.
recently he's recently blown up. Last time I saw him,
I haven't paid much
which doesn't
attention.
really surprise me.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised. It's a bit disheartening though. If I'll be honest with you,
Oh, it is,
because
definitely.
ContraPoints, he's not a dumb guy. He's just he's wrong. He's the best way to put it is he's not correct on a lot of the things he says, and I guess a lot of people just don't see the problem in a lot of his arguments. So I think that's what I find to be sad about him.
Yeah, and I
I
think a
could
lot of
break it
people
down.
are
Yeah.
impressed by the the editing and the fancy lighting and all that as well.
Yeah, he
it's
puts
very
effort.
manipulative in the sense that it provides I guess nice visuals and masks the argument with that as well.
Yeah, I guess people assume the production value is the argument when it's not the case at all.
What's more
Because
important?
again,
Oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna just
I was
continue
gonna
on.
say, I was gonna say he's far from a dumb person. It's just his liberal opinions are incorrect. He's not addressing the way the world is, nor how it should be. But go on.
What's more important than refuting Peterson empirically, says Harrison Fluss, a political theorist who has studied the alt right extensively, is understanding that he's an ideologue and that you should therefore engage in a philosophical battle. Peterson, Fluss tells me, has a disdain for mass society, which he thinks is making us weak, effeminate. Faced with the growing popularity of socialist and social democratic ideas, Peterson constantly raises the specter of the Gulag. Stalinist dictatorship to him is always just around the corner. It's a really scary dog whistle, Fluss says. In that context, if you want to convince your friend not to be a Peterson fan, it's probably more important to persuade him of the merits of your own progressive ideology than of the specific wrongness of Peterson's many claims. I love this. It's just like, oh yeah, Peterson's wrong about his claims, but allow me not to tell you how exactly that is, and use big terms like biological determinism as though that is just inherently wrong.
Yeah, at the very least, she's on the wrong side, but she's got the right approach. At the very least, she didn't just like tell her the offset, stop hanging out with
Stop
your friend,
talking, yeah.
abandon him. Ye who sail here, turn back. Like at the very least, we didn't get that approach to it. But at the same time, it is the most uncharitable and unfair criticism. I mean, like look at Jordan Peterson I've seen, and I guess not ever that I've seen, because a lot of people are like this with Jordan Peterson. They literally take this meek old man and they just try to make him out to be like a devil, like just a straight archdemon trying to sow destruction upon society.
Yeah, and
They
I think
really make him so
a
bad.
lot of the people that do that aren't people that actually engage with his content, but they engage with the content about him.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Because again, he is, even if you agree or disagree, it's very hard to come to any other conclusion than Jordan Peterson is a very meek and humble person.
Yeah.
Whether you hate his politics or not, he is very far from a dastardly villain, or he's playing his part very well if he is. But I don't know how like improving your life is something a villain would have in his book.
Yeah, and
You
I
know,
mean
the
he's been around for years and years before this, so I feel like he would have showed his hand by now.
that's a good point. A lot of people don't know that. Jordan Peterson has been around for a while on the internet. Uh, so that is a good point.
If your friend is indeed a Peterson admirer, I also wonder if he might be depressed and lonely. Even more than rage, transphobia, or misogyny, the effect most palpable in Peterson's public appearances is melancholy. He cries a lot, and the anger he expresses is of a brittle, depressive sort. I wonder to what extent his appeal lies in giving expression to, as well as providing narratives to explain, male sorrow. He also offers sad men empathy, a warm respite from the cold shoulder everyone gets from neoliberalism, and many men imagine they are getting from women and feminism. Yeah, it's all in our heads. So you may, outside of the context of a political discussion, want to suggest that your friends seek treatment for depression or at least spend less time on YouTube, which can be a cesspool of self reinforcing masculine ailments and symptoms. And that's the
He's
advice
he's
we get.
he's such a demon, but he's over here trying to help sad men out. He's so horrible and his politics are so backwards, but look at him care about men. Disgusting.
Really, it's
Absolutely
quite
disgusting.
abhorrent. It's
This guy.
interesting though when these people always manage to bring up empathy and as though they have it, um, but they always kind of show their hand when they try to write off the emotions of their opposition. Oh, many men imagine they're getting cold shoulder from women and feminism. It's not true. It's just in their heads. They're wrong. There's no validity to it. You can't go on any social media and see men are trash, kill all men. And I mean
No, no,
that's
no.
not something that
But the
affects
irony
me
is,
personally, but there are guys out there that do read those kind of things and as a result think less of themselves.
no, that's true. But here's another thing that we totally missed. She literally just did exactly what she's explaining in her article. Complete lack of self awareness.
Yeah, it's mostly I hate to overuse the term, but when it comes to these types of arguments, it seems to be one of mostly projection where they're guilty of everything that they're accusing their opponent of.
Yeah, and she literally just did it at the end of this article. Completely dismissed their feelings and the emotions of these young men, saying that they're all being reinforced when maybe there might actually be some good advice in here.
Yeah, I mean, telling someone if they're depressed to seek treatment, that's fine, but getting the idea that they're depressed because they watch somebody on YouTube is a little insane.
Yeah, it's quite the Herculean jump, man.
I mean, if he is a fan, he may have pulled himself out of some sort of mental health issue.
And that's what normally happens to a lot of Peterson fans, actually. And considering the fact that Peterson has a self-help book dedicated to you making your life better, I mean, eh. I don't know. For me, it's hard to come to the conclusion that he's trying to hurt anybody or that his ideas are terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't really understand all the outrage, but I think a part of it is that he does come across as so harmless and he presents the arguments whether you agree with them or not in a very articulate manner, and they don't like that because people do, it does resonate with people. And if the opponent suddenly has arguments that are expressed in a meek manner, as you put it, but reasonable, that kind of gives them more credibility. Somebody did say that, to be fair, Jordan Peterson does run a cult. I have seen some questionable behavior from people that do follow him, and that's sort of something that you'll see with any personality when they get to a certain level of popularity. But I don't think that really applies to everybody because, as usual, it's the craziest people that always end up being the loudest, and they come
Well,
to appear as though they represent the whole.
I want to ask. I mean, like, is Peterson actually running the cult, or is there just like a bunch of people that really like
Oh,
him and
like a
are
cult
sycophantic?
around him. Yeah, I that's what I feel like more that it is, because I don't really see
Because
in his content or his speeches where he's like rallying the troops or anything.
yes, if people are sycophantic, then people are sycophantic, and if they really resonate with what he says up to a point where they're like defend him, on the internet or whatnot, or are vicious and mean, you can't control that. You
No, I
know,
mean you
um,
can only do so much to be like, hey guys, don't harass anybody, don't overact. It's there's nothing you can do beyond saying that, and even saying that I feel like is somewhat and it's almost an admission of guilt to the people that call it out.
it can seem like that, certainly. Um, but at the same time, admission of guilt or not, you can't control your audience. You can't make anyone do anything they don't want to do or do something they do want to do, man. It's kind of all up to them.
No, and
And if a
it's a
bunch of
guilt by association, really.
yeah, if Peterson's fans are being mean and saying mean things or are being vicious, like what is Peterson going to? The only thing he can do is say, I mean, you guys aren't listening to me. I'm very clearly saying don't act in this particular manner. He just literally in his own words and just in his the main idea of his messages, he is fundamentally against this kind of behavior. Um, what more can be done at that point?
Right. I don't see these radical ideas of calls to harassment and violence coming out of Peterson. So if there are people that are acting in that way, they're clearly misinterpreting what he is saying.
Yeah.
There's also somebody in the chat that is saying, "Hey, buy my rug for $3,000. Buy my personality test for $15. It takes 0 to make." Simply question, "Hey, Bucko, hold up. I can't answer that. Let me ramble for 10 minutes to sound smart."
Yeah. That's
I agree
that's
that's funny, and
definitely
there are
a Peterson
situations
problem.
where you could argue that that happens.
Yeah, he does do that a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's hilarious when you catch him doing it. That is a totally reasonable and fair
I think
criticism
a
of
big one
Peterson.
that people point to is the Christian thing, or the "Do you believe in God" question or whatever.
I mean, he very clearly isn't a Christian if he won't admit, to following Jesus Christ.
Right. I've
That
heard
answers it
people.
right there.
Yeah, I've heard people use the term cultural Christian, which is like just
Which
basically
is
living
dumb.
by the values rather than necessarily believing in the what people call the mythology.
That's silly to me, man.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, I don't quite. I mean, I get it, but I don't at the same time, because then it's just kind of like you're picking and choosing. Um, but I will say that he does put out a lot of free stuff. I mean, I wouldn't buy some personality test or buy some rug for 3,000. I don't know what that is, but if there's a rug for sale for $3,000, that's pretty funny. Um,
They're probably Joe. It's probably more like $30.
oh, okay,
if
yeah,
if the rug does exist, yeah, the person's probably just making it
maybe they're
funny.
exaggerating, but he puts out a lot of free content, so you don't even necessarily have to pay him. I mean, that's a choice. You could say some people are maybe persuaded into paying, but again, that's not really their. I mean,
Yeah, they don't have to. I
yeah,
mean,
it's by choice. I mean, what can you do?
yeah, in my opinion, if someone wants to take the personality test, I don't think they should. But if they feel so inclined to spend $15 to take a test,
Jordan
I
is as
mean,
much of a Christian as a tranny is a female. Okay, that's awesome.
no, exactly. I mean, I like what he has to say, but if he can't admit to being a Christian, then he's not. It just that solves it. And I mean, like, there is one thing he said in particular that answers the question for everyone. I'm trying to remember what he said. There's like a video, or I don't know. I'll find the video later and probably make a tweet or something. But he's kind of spells it out clear as day that he's not a Christian. There really shouldn't be any debate or conversation about it.
Right.
The if he can't answer outright, yes, I believe there is a God and I believe Jesus Christ died, came back 3 days later. That ends it right there. You have your answer.
Now,
And the answer is no.
do you think that there is a motivation behind that, or do you think that that's just kind of how he feels about it, and he was trying to personally justify it, or what? Because I've seen some people make the accusation of, well, he's built up this audience and he's just trying hard not to piss anybody off now.
You know, there might be something in that. However, if he values the opinions of these random people on the internet rather than his convictions of being a Christian, then I think that's more a point against him than for him.
That's
I
true.
don't think
Yeah.
at any point you could say that that's reasonable or that's a good idea to be, because he could have just if that's the case, let's assume that this is true, then he should have built his audience up from the beginning under the understanding that he is a Christian. That should have never been called into question up to this point. So that way you can never blindside your audience with, oh wait, sorry, I'm just kidding. I've
Right. By
actually
the
been
way,
this way the
I'm
whole
not
time.
actually. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, be upfront about what you are and what you represent right from the get go. And I mean, I don't necessarily know because I haven't watched all of his stuff. I mean, the first time I heard of him was when the Bill C-16 thing came out, which is when most people heard of him. So that was
True.
really the beginning for me. I have watched other topics that he's talked about, and he does seem consistent. So I don't 100% know for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not, but
Okay, well, um, if you have any final thoughts, I suppose now would be the time. If not, I will begin to wrap up.
I guess my final thought would be, I guess getting back onto the article, I like the fact that the lady did tell her that it was okay to actually like talk to her and have a conversation.
Yeah,
That being said, I don't like the fact that she gave Jordan Peterson the most uncharitable definition and understanding possible. It seems that I think people should be more fair to their enemies, no matter how much you disdain them. Unless someone you meet is truly repugnant, there should be always some kind of charitability in their points. You shouldn't ever try to just make them seem totally disgusting and unreasonable. I don't
yeah,
think that's right.
and I think what we're seeing here is she gave advice, sure, and there's little tidbits in there that you can actually apply, but it's framed in a way that is combative. It's framing it in a
Yeah,
way of, oh, this is someone that you need to be worried about, so you need to talk to them, rather than this is just someone with some different ideas. Maybe you need to find out why they feel that way. And
exactly.
that
Good
would that
point.
would be my final say in all of this. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I know we had some tech issues there. First, it was my inability to use Discord, and then it was the internet deciding to cut out. But we pulled through. We pulled in a decent amount of views. The chat, took part in the discussion. I appreciate all that. Thank you guys for watching, and I will let you know when we're going to do another one of these. And thanks, Zers, for joining me. It's always fun.
Oh, cool.
And
All right,
we'll
man.
see you guys later.
Adios.